In this video, I am going to tell you why I love backpacking. So I grew up in a little village in Surrey, and when I was growing up, around about the age of, I don't know, sort of 7, 8, 9, 10, I was involved in the local Cubs and the Scouts, and part of that was to go camping. And I can remember vividly the day of my first camp, and it's funny how these things just stick in your head. And I remember my parents driving me over to this campsite where there were Scouts staying already, and I was joining them, and I just remember it feeling amazing. Just that there was a tent put up for me already, but I just remember having my very basic little backpack and very basic sleeping bag, and kind of setting up the bed for the night in the tent as a young boy. And the greatest thing I remember that stuck in my head was the fact that it rained on the first night. So I got that first magical taste of the rain on the shelter when you're camping. When I was around 20 years old, I went to East Africa, and I camped in a tent for around 5 to 6 weeks in Kenya, Tanzania, Zaire, which is now known as the DRC, as we know, and Uganda and Zanzibar, and I did that for about 5 to 6 weeks. And at that time, I wasn't calling it wild camping. I didn't really even know of the word wild camping. As you might imagine, in that part of the world, there's not really many or any rules to do with where you can camp and where you can't camp. You just camp. Yeah, I remember doing that, camping out in the bush, camping near wild animals, camping when it's really hot and giant insects around, camping on beaches overlooking the Indian Ocean. Really special times. However, I was so glad when I got back to the UK after the 5 to 6 weeks just to have a decent shower and to get into a bed. And I think that's something that's really good about backpacking, camping, wild camping, is that when you get back to civilization and your luxuries, you really do appreciate them. So I went on through my 20s and just did my thing, and I didn't really camp anymore. I actually can't remember camping at all, kind of in my 20s and my 30s. And I got into my early 40s and I became a dad, and that's when it all changed. I just decided one day that I wanted to take my first child camping. I bought some cheap camping equipment online and booked into a campsite not far from where I live. And both of us really liked it, and for her, I guess it was a brand new, exciting experience, and for me, it was like going back in time, sort of 30 years to when I used to do it. And I started to get the bug for it again. I thought, this is really great. And then I don't know what it was. It was around about 2017. I was online and I just came across the idea of wild camping. I can't remember if it was on Facebook. I might have done a search on Facebook or something like that. And then of course I went onto YouTube, and then I just started watching just hours and hours of wild camping videos from other channels, other YouTube channels. And I just felt really inspired. And I thought, yeah, that's something I really want to do. So slowly over time, so the last 3 years, I've been upgrading my gear, testing out things, and of course this YouTube channel has come into being in the midst of that, and I had no plan for that at all. No plan. I think probably the number one reason why I do the backpacking, I do the wild camping, is the escapism. I just love escaping from modern life. I think that's my #1 thing with this. Just getting away from people and noise and routine and busyness. And I think there's a real increasing desire for human beings to do this. I'm really noticing this. People just want to get away from the noise and get back to the simpler life. And I really like the simplicity of backpacking and wild camping. Everything about it, the excitement that you get, and those of you that do it will know exactly what I mean, but the excitement of just writing down that list of what you're going to take, packing it all up at home, getting it all into your rucksack, and then finding a new way of fitting something else in. You know, planning the routes, getting the maps out, looking at real maps, getting compasses out, doing the research, and then of course actually getting out and doing it and being completely self-sufficient, having everything that you need because you've planned it, hopefully. You've planned it for everything that you need, and you've got it on your back and you're heading off. And even if you kind of know where you're going, it's just that independence and that freedom of knowing that you've got everything you need. And if you don't know where you're going, then that's another layer of excitement. You know, you've got everything you need, but you don't quite know where you're going to stay. And I've experienced that a couple of times, and that's been really, really, really great. I think the other thing is that for me, when I'm outdoors, it just feels really, really right. I feel really at home. I feel really at peace. I can collect my thoughts. I can recharge mentally, emotionally, physically, and be in a better place when I get back to civilization, a better place for me and a better place for my family and those that are around me. I'm trying to be more spontaneous. I'm trying to not overthink it too much, because I think that if you overthink it and worry and are always stressing out, have I got the right equipment? What about this, what about that? Then you'll never go. So the thing that I'm trying to do is be quite impulsive and just to kind of go, be sensible, be safe, but just to try and be a bit more spontaneous in my approach to it. So that's my video done. It's my turn to nominate 2 other people. So the 2 channels that I'm going to nominate are Rosie Outdoors. So that's Mark from Rosie Outdoors. Do check out his channel, lovely channel. And the one and the only Hardy from Hardy Tempests, Wild Camps and Walks. So that's all from me for this video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. If you're not a subscriber, do hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the little bell so you get all the notifications of any future uploads. And also don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you have liked this video. So thank you very much. Take care. See you on the next one.